I'm Edie Hand. I'm founder of Women of True Grit. You know, I like to tell stories about women that have been through hard things and they turn them into beautiful situations. But today we're going to be talking with an outstanding community leader. Her name is Caudle Lewis. She's also an entrepreneur. She's a wife and she's a mother. Take a listen to some of her tools to help make better tomorrows.
I grew up in a little town called Triana, which sits right outside of Huntsville. I'm the youngest of 10 kids. I had a lot of people that were my mentors. It was mostly my grandma, because that's who raised me a lot of the times, because I stayed with her. And then it was actually my siblings too. Actually, it was one of those things where each one of them played a different part in my life. When I was growing up, my mom was a schizophrenic. And I think that as a young child, dealing with that and still trying to be a normal child through that process, it was hard. So it was up to us to take care of each other. So that's why now my siblings are my best friends. I mean, I wrote a book called The Power of 10, and it was one of those things, it was a tribute to my siblings. And I wanted to write a book to say how each one of them influenced my life as a leader. It wasn't one of those things where I had always planned to be a business owner or I wanted to be this, great person out here doing great things. It started out of necessity. I had went through a divorce, didn't have enough income to take care of me and my oldest daughter at the time. So it was just one of those things where I said, I've got to figure something out and figure out how to way to make ends meet. I met Larry later on in life. He actually worked for one of my sisters at another company, and I went by there to visit my sister and actually just ran into him. So when he left, I was like, oh, who is that? And then I found out later he actually came and asked my sister, who is that? So it's kind of a funny story where we end up together. I actually started Project XYZ in 2002, and it was just me for a couple years, just doing consulting work, IT consulting, because that's where my background is. And later on, Larry came over and joined me, and we just started growing together. And Project XYZ started growing because we started doing more diverse things, because he had a background in government contracting. I had my IT background, so we just started using those skills together and started growing the company. And then we realized at that point we wanted to do some other things in the community and make a bigger impact. So the profits that we used from Project XYZ, we started doing different investments in the community. And that's how we ended up with BizTech, which is one of Huntsville's oldest incubators. We've got a manufacturing facility in the Shoals area. So not only are we in Huntsville, we're actually throughout all of North Alabama. We even have a TV station over in Athens, Alabama. So we're truly trying to make investments back in the community that are making a big difference, not just in our lives, but the lives of the people that are around us. I tell everybody I stepped out on faith. There was no way that I would have thought that I'd be doing what I'm doing today, but it was just the right opportunity, the right time, and with God on my side, I was able to make that happen because I don't think I could have done it by myself. I just think it was that divine intervention that kind of played a huge portion of that in there. And I also think it's one of those things where I utilize people in the community. When I didn't know something, I actually went to some of my mentors and say, hey, I need to learn how, from the lawyers to the bankers to anybody. I found women that were in those fields that actually could help me, because being a woman, it's kind of hard sometimes to find the right people you can trust and people that are going to actually motivate you and give you the right information. So I just found good women in those areas, and they were true mentors and people that I could use to try to help me grow the business. I think the hardest thing for me was going through that divorce and trying to figure out me with a young child by myself. During that time, I moved from Huntsville to Atlanta for a little while, moved to Birmingham in a little while, because I think I had to find me first. And then once I figured out what I wanted to do and was passionate about, I was able to settle down, and then that's when I met my husband now, because it was that chance where I let all the past go and start concentrating on me. And I think that's where people have got to realize you've got to figure out what's going on in your life and have that figured out before you can bring somebody else into that picture. True grit really means that drive, that motivation, that energy to go for what you want. I mean, I think sometimes we limit ourselves as women thinking we can't do it. We have to be 100% of everything. And sometimes you can be all right at 75% and go at it full speed and still succeed. So I think sometimes we've got to let ourselves be at ease in trying something new, something different. And if it doesn't work, that's okay too. But don't give up. Don't let that stop you, because the next time that door will open and you'll be able to get in there. Hi, I'm Caudle Lewis, and I'm a woman of true grit.
For more inspiring stories like this, visit ediehand.com.